Okay, so what we're going to do today is just look at how to stack up layers using Photoshop, and that way we can actually set our Empire magazine title behind the picture if we want to. Layers basically stack like books do. So if you stacked a pile of books up, you could change whatever order, and the bits on top are the bits you can see if you're looking downwards. And then obviously the bottom layer is the bit that would stick out below it if you covered it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Explorer just to check the size of an Empire magazine front cover, and then once I've done that, I'll set up a new file and we'll put some pictures in and start playing with them. So I go across to this, have a look, and I type in at the top, type in Empire magazine cover, and then I find a few different ones. I look at the different sizes, a few different sizes, but I end up coming up with this one here is a pretty good size, 590 by 765. So I go back to Photoshop and I go to new under file, and I go width. Alright, we're going to go 590 by 765. Make sure it's on pixels, check that it's not on any of the others. You don't want to go that big and obviously in centimeters and stuff, so just check it's on pixels. And we'll keep our background content as white, it's fine. Just press OK. And it should give us a shape like that. Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'd already got earlier and saved a couple of pictures that I want to use just by Googling them and then saving them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save, open a picture of Heath Ledger, then the Empire magazine, and I'll show you what the layers thing does. So we just go File, Open, I've got them saved. Open it up here. Now you notice that it's actually just opened up a different file here. Okay, really simply, what you've got to do then, just press Control A like you would in Word, and it'll select the whole thing. Control C copies the whole thing. I go back to my original one. I go Control V. And it dumps it. Okay, and you know it's too big. It's pretty normal. It will change the size depending on whatever image you get. So what we need to do here is just resize them, which is a pretty simple thing to do. So go on my arrow tool because that allows me to grab it. And you can see out here it started showing you actually how big the picture actually is. So all we do is make sure we hold down Shift because that keeps these sizes the same. And we just bring him in until he fits, like that. Alright. Now see how that's skewed when I did that wrong, and you can see now his picture's all wrong. So I press this button here, it says no, I don't like it. It's because I let go Shift too quick. Alright, so I'm just going to try that again. Like that, that's where I want it. Let go of that. And now I can move him around before I flatten him. Look at that, it fits really nicely. And I just go, okay. Now you can see there's a bit down the bottom there, but that's alright, doesn't matter. We don't even need to crop that because this is what we're working with. Actually, you can see there's a spot of white there, so I might just, we've pulled him in just a fraction thin. Do you know what, I might just move him, it's not going to be noticeable. There we go. Alright, and now we go, tick means okay. Alright, so there's our size image, there's Heath Ledger. Alright, I open the same thing up, going File, Open. I'm going to get my logo, new file again. So again, Control A, Control C, copies it, alright, and then I go Control V. Now the problem is now, there's two problems. One is that there's all that white stuff. Really simple to fix. Before I do it, I'm just going to resize. So I'm going to hold down Shift. Just going to make it so that I want it get it the right size. Now it's a bit fuzzy on the edges, but usually it sharpens up. If it doesn't, you can fix it later. All right, so I'm just going to try that. Yeah, look at that, it cleaned it up. Okay, need to get rid of the white stuff. Very simply, I go to this little tab here. It's called the Magic Wand tool. All right, and you click on that. What that does is select similar colors. So if you're dealing with white and red, it's nice and simple. You just click on the white and you'll notice that it selects that. And if I press delete now, it's gone. Okay. Now an easier way to do this, sometimes it selects all of it for you. So I click down here, you'll see it selected all of that. Nice and easy. Just press delete. But sometimes I want to select it all in one go and it's not connected. So hold down Shift. I click on this bit. I click on this bit, and you can see I'm just adding to the selection now. Whereas actually, if I just click let go Shift, click over here, it disappears. Okay. So if I want to add stuff, hold down Shift, click in the white bits again, and delete. Okay, and then I'm just going to press Control D to deselect that. Alright, bang, done. Alright, it's a bit shady, but it'll do for now because of what I want to try and show you. Alright, so you've got this idea, right? There's our Heath Ledger layer. Let me turn off auto select. Magazine. Alright, now you can see that at the moment it's right over his face. It's not really what we want. We kind of just want it. We want his face in front. Alright, so what we're going to do is I'm going to go over this bit over here. This bit is called our layers palette. You can see it says layers there. You could flick to these others. Don't play with them, they get annoying. layers like that. Okay, and you've got a little eye here. The eye turns things on and off. So turn it off, turn it on. Turn him off, turn him on. Okay, turn the background off. You can't really see anything because it's in the background, right? Here's the deal. If I want him to be above it, I can move him up there, right? Now the problem is, it's a whole layer has gone here, all right? So I can turn him off again. It appears again, all right? But actually what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to get his face and all of this little bit of hair here, and I'm going to have to copy that onto a new layer above, all right? So what we'll end up with is basically two pictures of his face, one below the title and one above the title, all right? So I'm just going to turn off the Empire magazine layer there. So you see the idea again, like I said, it's like books. You stack it up, you know, whichever way you want to stack something. If I got another picture in now, it doesn't matter what the picture is. If let's just flick back to this. Let's say I got this picture here. I copied it. I stuck it in the Photoshop. I sort of paste there. And then let's make it smaller. And I just shrunk him down, right? So that's okay. I could stick that right in between here. All right, and you get the idea now that it starts to stack up like layers. All right, one on top of the other. Again, if I wanted him above that, I can move him above and move up and down. I can do that all day. This can be filled up. So I'm going to delete that layer. I don't like it. It's not what I want. So I'm just dumping it in the trash can. It goes at the bottom of the screen down there. Let's turn this off. I'm going to zoom in. There's a zoom tool at the very top. Also, there's a zoom tool down there. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to zoom in on his face. All right. Okay, basically, because if I turn this on, I only need this top bit copied. I literally just need to copy that. I don't need to copy his whole face. And you'll see him, because it's copied on top of himself anyways, you won't be able to tell. Alright, so I'm going to make sure I'm on this layer. Now, whichever layer you've got selected is what will be effective what you do. So if I had the Empire layer highlighted in blue, that means I've selected that layer. And I could rub some out if I wanted to. You can see I'm rubbing that out now. Okay, it starts to disappear. Right? Now, I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I want to affect Heath Ledger's layer. So I click on his layer there, and I'm just going to double click on the layer. I'm going to call it Heath, so I don't get lost. Okay, I'm going to call this logo. All right. Later on, when I've got two of these, it'll make a bit more sense. So let me turn that off. Making sure I've got this highlighted blue. Let's go back to that magic wand tool again. All right. You can see I selected a tiny amount there. That's because my tolerance appears low. That means different colors. So I need to crank that up. Let's just crank it up to, like, I don't know. Let's go up to 15. Let's try this. I'll click on here. You can see I selected a bit more there. Good. So I just hold down Shift. Start selecting more. Adds to my selection. Okay. Hopefully I'm going to get a pretty good outline of him. I just need to select all these bits. Still holding down Shift. I'm just going to do something quickly. If I right click on this, I can use the quick selection tool. Sometimes a bit easier. Make the brush a bit bigger. And now I can just select all of that. There we go. It's a bit quicker. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, but there you go. So I've selected his face. I don't need to select the ear. You can see it because my text is coming up over here. I could if I wanted to. All right. So now I'm just going to again press Control C, Control V. And what it'll do is it'll just copy everything in that little squiggly line and dump it below it. So you won't be able to even tell because it'll be a bang on top. Control C, Control V. All right. Now you can't see it, right? But if I turn off the original layer down here, if I just flick him off, you can see that we've got that layer there. Okay. If I wanted to, I could move it around and play with it and do other effects, but that's not what I'm trying to do here today. See, it's like a mask on top. Okay, there's two of them now. Okay, I've just copied it and it's dumped it on top. All right. If you ever want to change anything, just press Control Z. It just goes back, and Alt Control Z if you need to go back more than once. All right. So layers simply now, because I want that this layer over here on top, Empire logo in the middle. I grab this layer, I chuck it on the top, and bang! Suddenly it's behind his head. Okay. And now I just move it around till I've got it where I want it, so it's obvious enough that it's Empire magazine. I mean, if you look at some originals, it's always good just to have an original to look at. You can see often, you know, okay, here takes a bit less. If you scroll up a bit, I mean, sometimes they take up all of it. Sometimes it's in front. Sometimes it's, you know, sometimes front, sometimes behind. It's a pretty well-known logo, so if you cover it up a bit, it's not a big deal. I mean, it's your point, your choice. If you want to stick it on front, go for it. If you know how to use Photoshop, you can do things like this and down here for Iron Man 2, and you can actually affect the text. you've got to be a bit more proficient to do that though. But for now, you can just see it's easy to block out some of the text. So let's go back to Photoshop, and there you go. You've got that. All right, nice and simple. So there's layers, and there is how to copy, how to resize. Okay, so we'll stop that for now, and I'll put up another one in a bit. Looking at how to just add text and stuff now, nice and simple. Okay, good luck.